Hi everyone, this is Toiba from Toys Lab Creations. Today I'm going to be making this pleated baby cardigan. It's for size 0 to 6 months. So for this project I'm going to be needing 4.0 mm hook. I'm going to be using light worsted weight yarn. I'm going to be using this variegated yarn here. And I'll be needing stitch markers and buttons, and then tapestry needle to sew in the buttons, and then scissors to cut off excess yarn. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'll start with a slip knot, then I'll make a chain of 54. So just go ahead and chain 54, and I'll join you when I'm through with my 54 chains. So I've chained 54. So for row 1 now, I'm going to skip the first 2 chains, 1, 2, and into the third chain from the hook I'm going to make a double crochet. I'll mark my first stitch. Then I'll go ahead and make a double crochet into each stitch across. So at the end of row 1, I'll have a total of 52 double crochets. So just go ahead and make your row of double crochet, and I'll join you at the end of row 1. So I'm through with row 1. So moving on to row 2 now, I'm going to chain 2. This chain 2 does not count as a stitch. I'll turn my work and then make a double crochet in the first 7 stitches. So I've made my first double crochet. I'm going to mark that, and then make additional 6 double crochets. So in all I have 7 double crochets. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So into the next stitch I'm going to make 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 1, and then make 2 more double crochets into the same stitch. And then into the next 10 stitches I'm going to make 1 double crochet each into the next 10 stitches. 1, 2. If you prefer to work with written pattern, you can find the free written pattern for this pattern on my blog for size 0 to 6 months. However, if you'd like to make it in bigger sizes, you can find the written pattern in my Ravelry and Etsy store for size 0 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months, 12 to 18 months, and 18 to 24 months. And please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching. So I've made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to make 2 more. So next I'm going to make 2 double crochets to the next stitch, 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 double crochet in the same stitch. So next I'm going to be making 14 double crochets in the next 14 stitches, 14 double crochets. In the next stitch, 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, then 1 double crochet in the next 10 stitches, then 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, and then 1 double crochet in the last 7 stitches. So just go ahead and follow the instruction on the screen, and I'll join you when I'm through with row 2. I've made it to the end of row 2, and I have a total of 64 double crochets, including the double crochets at the chain 1 spaces. I didn't count the chain 1 stitch though, so in all I have 64 double crochet. So moving on to row 3 now, chain 2, turn. The chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Make a double crochet into each stitch until I get to the chain 1 space. So in all I should have 9 double crochet. So I'll just go ahead and do the double crochets. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I'm at the chain 1 space now. So into the chain 1 space, I'm going to make 2 double crochets, chain 1, and then 2 double crochet all in the chain 1 space. And then I'll continue with double crochet into each stitch until I get to the next chain 1 space, and then make a double crochet. And when I get to chain 1 space, I'll make 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, and then I'll continue with double crochet into each stitch till I get to the next chain 1 space, and then I'll make 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, then a double crochet in each stitch till I get to the next chain 1 space, and then I'll make 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, then I'll finish the row with a double crochet into each stitch to the end. So I'll join you when I'm through with row 3. I've made it to the end of row 3 and I have 80 double crochets in all. So for rows 4 to 6 now, I'm just going to continue the same sequence with row 3. So I'm going to, for row 4 now, chain 2, double crochet in the first stitch. I'll mark my stitch, and then I'll make a double crochet into each stitch till I get to the chain 1 space. Then into the chain 1 space, I'll make my increases, 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet. Then I'll continue with the double crochet in each stitch till I get to the next chain 1 space, and then I'll make 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, and then continue with a double crochet into each stitch till I get to the next chain 1 space, and then I'll make 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet, and then continue with the double crochet into each stitch till I get to the next chain 1 space, and then I'll make 2 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochet into the chain 1 space, and then I'll finish the row with a double crochet into each stitch to the end. So I'll just continue that sequence till row 6, and I'll join you when I'm through with row 6. I've made it to row 6 and I have 128 double crochets in all. So moving on to row 7, I'm going to be making our sleeves on row 7. So I'm going to chain 2, then turn my work, and I'll make a double crochet in each stitch till I get to the chain 1 space. I should have 17 double crochets. So I'll mark my first stitch, and then I'll go ahead and make a double crochet in each stitch till I get to the chain 1 space. I'll join you when I get to the chain 1 space. So I made it to the chain 1 space and I have 17 double crochets so far. So I'm going to go into the chain 1 space now. I'll make a double crochet, then I'll chain 1, then I'll skip all these stitches and then reach over to the next chain 1 space, and then I'll make a double crochet into the chain 1 space, and then I'll continue with a double crochet into each of these stitches. So there are 34 double crochets in total. I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll join you when I'm through with those 34 double crochets. So I've made 34 double crochets now, and I've made it to the next chain 1 space. So I'm going to go into the chain 1 space and then make a double crochet, chain 1, then I'll skip all these stitches and reach over to the next chain 1 space, then I'll make a double crochet into the chain 1 space too. Then I'll go ahead and then make a double crochet in all the stitches till the end. So just go ahead and do that, and I'll join you when I'm through with row 7. So I made it to the end of row 7 and I have 74 stitches, including the double crochets into the chain 1 spaces and the chain 1 that I made. So I have 74 stitches in all. So I'm going to move on to row 8 now. I'll chain 2. The chain 2 does not count as a stitch, and then I'll turn my work and then make a double crochet in each stitch across, including the chain 1 at the armholes. So at the end of row 8, I have a total of 74 double crochets. So just go ahead and make a double crochet into each stitch across, and I'll join you at the end of row 8. I've made to the end of row 8 and I have 74 double crochets in all. So moving on to row 9 now, I'm going to be making our pleats on row 9. So moving on to row 9 now, I'm going to chain 2, I'll turn my work, then I'll make a double crochet in the first stitch, I'll mark my stitch, then I'll make additional 4 double crochets. So you know I have 5 double crochets. This is 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'll start my pleats now. So I'll be working to the front loop only of the next 4 stitches. So I'll go into the front loop only of this stitch. That's the loop closest to me. Then I'll make a double crochet. Then I'll do that for the next 3 stitches. 2, 3 and 4, and then I'll start to work into the back loop only of those 4 stitches now. So I'll go into the back loop only of the first one here, then I'll make a double crochet. Then I'll go into the back loop only of the next one, then another double crochet. That's 2, 3 and 4. Now I'll work into these back loops again. I'll yarn over and then make a double crochet. I'll go into the side of the last one I just made and then make another double crochet there. 1. And into the side of the next one too. Another double crochet. Then to the side of the third one. And into the side of the last one now. I'll make my last double crochet. So next I'm going to be working into the back loop only of the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now walk into the front loops of those 4 stitches now. 1, 2, 3 and the last one 4. Then I'm going to walk into the front loop only of those 4 stitches that I just finished. So I'm going to start 1 to the side of the next one, 2, the third front loop, 3, and then the last one. 4. So with that I'm through with the pleats. I believe you can see it now. So I'll continue now. I'll make a double crochet into the next 11 stitches. I'm going to be going into both loops. Make a double crochet into the next 11 stitches and then I'll make this pleats again. So I'll do the double crochets off camera and I'll come back to show you the pleats once more. I have made 11 double crochets, so I will make another pleat at this point. I'm going to be working to the front loop only. So 1 to the front loop only, 2, 3, and the last one 4. Now we'll go into the back loop only now. We'll start with this one, make a double crochet, 2, 3, and the last one 4. Then I'll work into these back loops again. One. I'll do that again. 1. Into the second stitch. 2. 3, and the last one 4, and then I'll walk into the back loop only of the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and the last one 4. So then I'll proceed to the front loop only of those 4 stitches now. 1, 2, 3, and then I'll make the last one 4. Let me do the last one again. 4. So I'm going to be working into those front loops once more. So I'll start here. 1, 2, to the side of the third one, 3, and the last one 4. So with that, I'm through with the second pleat. So now I'm going to make 10 double crochets, then I'll do the pleats again, and then 11 double crochets, and then I'll do the pleat again, and then I'll finish the row with 5 double crochets. So just go ahead and follow the instruction on the screen, and I will join you at the end of row 9. So I've made it to the end of row 9, and I have made all 4 pleats. I have 138 double crochets in all. So for row 10 now, I'm going to chain 2. Remember that the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. And then I'll make a double turn, and then I'll make a double crochet into each stitch across. So I'll mark my first stitch, and then I'll continue to double crochet into each stitch across. So at the end of row 10, I'll have a total of 138 double crochets. So just go ahead and do that, and I will join you at the end of row 10. So I've made to the end of row 10. The pleats are now more obvious, and I have 138 double crochets in all. So for rows 11 to 20, it's just a repeat of row 10. I'm just going to chain 2 on each row, chain 2, and I'll turn my work, and then I'll make a double crochet in the first stitch. I'll mark my stitch, and then I'll make a double crochet into each stitch across. So at the end of each row, I should have 138 double crochet. So just keep repeating row 10 until you get to row 20, and I'll join you when I'm through with row 20. I've made it to row 20, and that's what I have so far. So for the next row now, row 21, I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. Then I'll make a single crochet in the first stitch. I'll mark my stitch. Then I'll continue with a single crochet in each stitch till the end of the row. So row 21 is a row of single crochet. So just go ahead and make a single crochet in each stitch, and I'll join you at the end of row 21. I've made it to the end of row 21. I have 138 single crochets in all. So moving on to the final row now, I'm going to chain 2. This chain 2 does not count as a stitch. I'm going to make a double crochet in the first stitch. Let me mark my double crochet, and then in the next stitch I'm going to make a slip stitch. Then I'll keep alternating that, a double crochet in the next one and a slip stitch in the next stitch all the way across. So I'll just go ahead and do that, and I'll join you at the end of the row. So I'm about to finish row 22. I have a slip stitch here, so I'm going to make a double crochet next. Then I'll finish the row with the slip stitch into the last stitch. Then I'll chain one, then I'll cut my yarn. So this is what we have so far. You can see the edge in here. So the next thing to do now is to make the button band. So I'm going to be making the button band on this side. So I'm going to attach my yarn here. Make a slip knot. And then attach my yarn to this row here, the last row here. So I'll attach my yarn here, chain one, and then single crochet on the side of the last row there. So that's my first stitch for the bottom band. Then I'll continue on the side of the next row, the single crochet row. Then I'll make one single crochet there. Then I'll make 2 single crochet on the side of each double crochet row all the way to the top. So at the end of row 1 of the bottom band, I should have 42 single crochets in all. So just go ahead and make 2 single crochet on the side of each double crochet row, and I'll join you when I get to the top here. So I've made it to the end of row 1 of the bottom band. So for row 2, I'm just going to chain 1, turn my work, make a single crochet in the first stitch. I'll mark my stitch, and then I'll make a single crochet in each stitch across, and I'll repeat the same for row 3. So I'll join you at the end of row 3. In all, I have 42 single crochets, so I'll just walk through all those 42 single crochet and then make rows 2 and 3 just single crochet along, and I'll join you at the end of row 3 of the bottom band. I'm about to finish the 3rd row of my bottom band, which is the last row of the bottom band. So I'm going to make the last single crochet here, chain 1, and then I'll cut my yarn. So then I'll move on to the bottom O band. That will be on this side. So I'm going to attach my yarn with a slip knot to the top row here. So attach it to the first row at the top here. Then I'll chain 1, and then I'll make 2 single crochet on the side of that first row. 1, I'll mark my first single crochet, and then 2, and then I'll make 2 single crochet on the side of each double crochet row all the way to the end. So when I get to the last 2 rows, I'll make 1 single crochet on the side of each of those last 2 rows. So in all, I have 42 single crochets. So just go ahead and do that, and I'll join you at the end of row 1 of the buttonhole band. I've made to the end of row 1 of the buttonhole band, and I have 42 single crochets. So moving on to row 2 now, I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work, and I'll single crochet in the first 3 stitches. So I'll make my first single crochet, I'll mark my stitch, and then make 2 more single crochets. So that's 3 single crochets in all. So now I'm going to make my first button O. I'll chain 1, skip the next stitch, and then single crochet in the next 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I'll make another button O. I'll chain 1, skip the next stitch, and then make 8 single crochets again. So now keep repeating that, make 8 single crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch, make 8 single crochet until I have 3 stitches left. So I'll join you at that point. I'm almost through with the 2nd row of the button O band. I've made 8 single crochets here, and I have 3 stitches left. So chain 1, skip 1, that's my last button O, and then I'll make single crochet into the last 2 stitches. So for the last row of my button hole band, I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and then make a single crochet into each stitch across, including the chain 1 space. So I've made 2. This is my first chain 1 space. I'm going to go into there and make a single crochet. So I'll just make a single crochet into each stitch across, and I'll join you at the end of the row. In all, I shall have 42 single crochets. I've made it to the end of the 3rd row of the button hole band, and so this is what the cardigan looks like so far. I believe you can see my button holes. So the next thing to do now is to make the sleeve. So I'm going to be starting here. I'm going to be attaching my yarn with a slip knot to the chain 1 space that we made at the armhole. So this stitch here, I'm going to go into there and then attach my yarn. Then I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then make a double crochet in the same stitch. I'll mark my first stitch, and then on the side of the double crochet next to it, I'm going to make 2 double crochets here. 1 and 2, and then in all these 30 stitches here, I'm going to make double crochet each. So I'll just go ahead and do that, and I'll come back to show you how to finish round 1 of our sleeve. I worked into all 30 stitches, and I have the 3 double crochets in all now. So I'll go and work into the side of the double crochet here like we did at the beginning of the round. I'll make 2 double crochets there. So in all, I'll have 35 double crochets. So I'll join the round, the slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. So I'll start round 2 now. To start round 2, I will chain 2. This chain 2 does not count as a stitch. Then I'll start with double crochet 2 together. Mark my first stitch, and then I'll double crochet into each stitch around. So at the end of round 2, I'll have a total of 34 double crochets. So I'll join you at the end of round 2. I'm about to finish round 2, so I'm going to make a double crochet into the last stitch of the round, and then finish the round with a slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. And so in all, I have 34 double crochets. So for rounds 3 to 11, I'm going to start each row with chain 2 and double crochet 2 together. So just basically repeat of round 2. So I'll start each row with double crochet 2 together, and then double crochet into each stitch around. So I'll just do that for round 3 to 11, starting each row with a decrease. I'll be decreasing a stitch in at the beginning of each row till round 11. So at the end of round 11, I'll have a total of 25 double crochets. So just go ahead and repeat round 2 for rounds 3 to 11, and I'll join you at the end of round 11. I've made it to round 11 of the sleeve, and I have 25 double crochets. See what the sleeve looks like so far. So moving on to the next round, which is round 12. I'm going to chain 2. The chain 2 does not count as a stitch. I'm going to make a double crochet into the first stitch, and then I'll make a double crochet into each stitch around. Let me make my first stitch. So on round 12, there won't be any decreases. So at the end of round 12, I will still have 25 double crochets. So just go ahead and make a double crochet into each stitch around, and I'll join you at the end of round 12. I'm about to finish round 12 of the sleeve, so I'm going to make my last double crochet here. Then I'll finish the round, the slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. So I have 25 double crochets in all. So for the next round, round 13, I'm going to chain 1 and then single crochet in the first stitch. Round 13 is going to be a round of single crochets. So I'll mark my first stitch, and then I'll continue to single crochet into each stitch around. So at the end of round 13, we'll still have 25 stitches. So just go ahead and make a single crochet into each stitch around, and I'll join you at the end of round 13. So I've made 25 single crochets, and I'm going to finish the round with the slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. So for the next round, round 14 and also round 15, are just going to be rounds of single crochet. I'm just going to go ahead and repeat round 13. So chain 1, then single crochet in the first stitch. I'll mark my stitch, and then I'll single crochet into each stitch around. So I'll just do that for rounds 14 and 15. So I'll just basically repeat round 13 for rounds 14 and 15, and I'll come back to show you what my sleeves looks like when I'm through with round 15. So I've made it to round 15, and then I chained 1 and cut my yarn. So this is what the sleeve looks like. So I'll just go ahead and repeat the instructions for the sleeve, for the second sleeve, and I'll join you when I'm through with the second sleeve. I'm through with the second sleeve now. So the next thing to do is to fix the buttons and then weave in my hand. So I'm going to attach the button to the second row of the button band, and I'll make sure it aligns with the button holes. So I'll go ahead and do that off camera, and then weave in my ends, and then I'll come back to show you the final piece. I'll fix the button and I'll weave in on my ends. So this is what the final cardigan looks like. So I hope you like it. This is it in another color. You can find the free written pattern on my blog for 0 to 6 months size. The PDF pattern that contains 0 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months, 12 to 18 months, and 18 to 24 months is available in my Ravelry and Etsy store. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in my next tutorial. Bye.